Hello, everybody. This is Brad Swift. I am foregoing the typical introduction of the Gaia's Call podcast. And to go ahead and dig right into this, I am actually recording this from uh, my bed, since we'll get into that as we get into today's, uh, what I hope will be an inspiring article. Has been for me. It's been quite an interesting week. So let's dig in. From overwhelm to purpose. From illness to insight and to a renewed purpose itself. Yeah, I've been sick these past few days. Nothing serious, at least I don't think so. Just one of those stubborn bugs that, knocks you off your feet for a bit. But something about being physically run down made it harder to keep my usual perspective, to hold on to the bigger picture. Instead, I found myself staring straight into the turbulence of the world and feeling, well, lost. The weight of everything, the climate crisis, the political chaos, the sheer scale of the transformation that must take place, well, it felt impossible. The truth is, I've been carrying around an unconscious assumption, and this is what it was, that this next phase of human evolution is going to be an unbearably hard, filled with suffering, and that it will likely remain this way for the rest of my life, maybe even worse for those that I love. Now, sitting with that realization was sobering. No wonder I was feeling depleted. I'd unknowingly written a script in my mind about this era had to be. And then something shifted. It wasn't a thunderbolt revelation. It's more like the slow opening of a door. What if it ain't necessarily so? What if, instead of an era of suffering, this could be the most meaningful, purposeful, and even exciting time to be alive? What if I get to say? Reframing the moment we are in. As I lay in bed, exhausted but reflective, I thought about the one cause framework that we've been working with here on Substack. Great untruths and the great truths. And then something began to click. We've spent so much time exposing the guts, the great untruths, those myths that have led us to this crisis point, and beginning to counter them with great truths, the deeper truths that point to a different way forward. But what I was struggling with wasn't just about knowing these truths intellectually. It was about how I personally experienced this moment in history. And that's where Ken Wilber's integral model came back into focus. The four quadrants of human experience that he outlines tells us that transformation isn't just about changing systems, like out there in the exterior world, but also about how we think, see, and feel, the interior world. So, if I believe this time is primarily about suffering, then my experience of it will be filled with struggle, resignation, yeah, even despair. But if I believe this time is about stepping into my highest purpose, then this could be the most rewarding chapter of my life. As in, isn't that the ultimate lesson of that upper left quadrant, that inner game of transformation? So, a shift in perspective from crisis to calling. I realize that I have a choice. I can see this moment as a slow motion catastrophe, a downward spiral from which there is no escape. Or I can see it as a sacred responsibility, an opportunity to bring my wisdom, my creativity, and purpose to help guide this transition. I'm not just a 75-year-old man who has benefited from an unsustainable system, which I have, I am also a storyteller, a wisdom keeper, and a bridge builder. And what an honor it is to live at a time when those gifts are needed more than ever. If I accept that, then this isn't a time to despair. It's a time to rise. And the same is true for all of us. So, how do we move forward? Well, this is where I began to wonder, is there a fifth great truth trying to emerge? If the four great truths laid the foundation, the interconnectedness, sufficiency, reciprocity, stewardship, then perhaps what comes next, well, is a bridge to action. Maybe it's something about how we show up, how we embody these truths, how we move from knowing to doing, to taking action. So maybe it's about courage, how we step forward, even when we don't have all the answers. Or maybe it's about emergence, how we trust that the future is co created in real time, not predetermined. Or maybe it's about purpose, obviously, one of my favorite topics, how we each claim our role in this transition. Yeah, I don't have the answer yet. May not have it at all at any point. But what I do know is this: we're not powerless in this moment. You see, I started this reflection in Overwhelm, wondering if the scale of change ahead was too vast to comprehend. And I end it with a renewed understanding. I don't have to see the whole path. I just have to take the next step. And that step is before us now. So, an invitation. I'd really love to hear from you. Yeah, right here from my sick bed. Here's a few questions. Have you ever caught yourself thinking that this moment in history is only about hardship and struggle? Or just this question: what happens when you consider the idea that this might be the most purposeful time to be alive? And last of all, what do you think? Is there a fifth great truth? And what would it be? Hey, let's explore this together. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are as we think this through together.